Good evening, everybody. This is a live emergency update as we have a new tornado warning over Orlando. This is just south of the international airport, due east of Kissimmee. Looks like the hook is getting a little bit more diffuse on the latest radar scan. But look at that hook that wrapped up. It looks like it went through one cycle. The old hook happened out near Kissimmee. That one got choked off. The new hook wrapped around here on the south side of the warning, just to the south of the airport. But we were breaking this down on our exclusive live stream just a little bit ago. Definitely tightening up. Look at that thing tighten up. Boom, boom. Couple little breaths there as it was approaching the Florida Turnpike. East of Kings Highway. It's now just east of the Turnpike. The circulation is now to the east of the Florida Turnpike, south of Fortune Road. Really the south edge of this tornado warning is the one that you really got to watch out for. It's right over the radar site, so I think that that's causing some of these velocities to come down a little bit. So we're going to go to the regular radar. There's your hook echo. Definitely east of the Florida Turnpike, approaching the lake Tapaloopiga. There's the storm relative inflow right over the lake. Toho Pekaliga. So there's all the storm relative inflow. Big reds there. Those are southeasterly streaming into this storm. There's your tornado warning once again. It does include MCO, the airport, even though I think that the rotation is going to be over the southern edge of this tornado warning. This is the marginal risk down in Florida. We did that morning weather report this morning and broke this down. We thought there was a chance of a tornado threat in that the shear profiles almost looked like high plains type shear profiles, with easterlies up through a certain level, flipping around to southwesterly at about a kilometer above the ground. So this is it. Tornado warning just east of Kissimmee, just to the east of the Florida Turnpike, south of Highway 522. That is the inflow notch. Maybe a little bit of a weak echo region back behind it as well over the Florida Turnpike right now. Let's take a look at velocity again. Definitely not incredibly strong rotation. It is approaching the lake, Tohopekaliga. I'm trying to say it so fast it sounds like I'm saying it right. Sorry about that. West of Highway 15. South central portion of the tornado warning. It is just to the north of St. Cloud, so it is definitely in the south side of the tornado warning. There's the airport. This is the Orlando area, southeast of Interstate 4. There's Walt Disney World Resort, just to the northwest of that warning. Let's take a look at the loop. It is just radar indicated, not confirmed. Definitely not seeing incredibly strong rotation with this. It's relatively fast moving. Almost looks like it's a bit outflow dominant with that hook kind of surging out west to east. But definitely do have a lot of storm relative inflow, a little bit of an RFD coming around the backside. But I'm really not seeing anything that jumps out and screams tornado in progress, that's for sure. Definitely does have some tornado potential. Looks like some type of a gravity wave lifting up to the east of it. Wonder if that played any role. Probably not. Gotta wonder if this is just gonna keep on going all the way to Titusville, turning off to the right. Definitely is a right mover. East-southeasterly storm motion. I'm gonna take a look at, let's take a look at the photograph in this area. We were just doing an exclusive live Q&A for our Facebook subscribers when this thing broke out, when that new tornado warning came in. So here is KMLB. So this is in the Orlando area, but the photograph has actually gotten a little bit more favorable for tornado potential. But your 0 to 3 kilometer SRH is close to 200. But you can see you've got a lot of easterlies in the lowest 1.5 kilometers. Southeasterly winds over here populating this part of the photograph. This is your forecast shear profile, right, or actually present shear profile in the Orlando area. 1 kilometer wind southeast. Surface wind also out of the southeast at 8 knots. So that's really only creating like 10 knots of 0 to 1 kilometer shear. but you're pretty close to a 90-degree critical angle with your storm motion vector of the right mover, southwest to northeast at about 13, 14 knots. Proportional, your storm relative helicity is proportional to the area enclosed within that hodograph curve. Stronger southwesterly, so you do have quite a bit of bulk shear between the mid-levels of the atmosphere and your surface. Probably about 40 knots of bulk shear, and that's why we do have supercell storms in this environment. Surface map. It's warm in Florida. There's some subtropics here, so you expect it to be warm. Dew points near 70, upper 60s. And it looks like this storm is actually happening right along a differential heating boundary, to the north of which you have more easterly surface winds, south of which more of a southeasterly. Right along that boundary is where that storm is traversing. And we had a couple of tornado warnings today across the central Florida peninsula. One was actually observed, Sheriff NATO down there. We'll need to see a photograph definitely to see if that was a tornado or was it a scud tag. Here's your main convection coming in now. That's your blob of convection. But notice how that storm is anchored right along that differential heating boundary, basically a pseudo warm front across the central Florida peninsula that you can see. Pseudo warm front, more easterly winds, a little bit more low-level storm relative helicity. You don't have a ton of wind shear available to these storms, so you really need that differential heating boundary to squeeze out all you can to try to get triple-digit 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative felicities. Let's go back to the radar. It's moving fast now. It's looking to me like this is elevated now, but the hook is starting to try to come around again. On this latest scan, see the cyclonic curvature of that hook echo. It's trying to come back around again, pulling an inflow into this inflow notch. More than likely a tornado will form right at the tip there. You basically have a rear flank downdraft that's bulging out. Your southeasterlies wrap around the apex. Also got this forward flank gust front. This is a forward flank downdraft. A lot of heavy rain and hail falls in that area. And then your inflow is squeezed in. It's a squeeze play between the RFD gust front and the forward flank gust front. Everything trying to flow into that low pressure. But there's a lot of rain down here in the RFD as well, so it is more of an HP cell. Let's take a look at the trend in echotops just to get an idea of what this storm is doing. Trends are everything, and we are using the Melbourne radar site. Boy, it looks like not surprisingly, the tops peaked just to the southeast of Kissimmee right as it was about to produce that tornado. Starting to bubble up again a little bit off to the east after that cycle. Maybe it'll start to ramp up again. I suspect, though, that this thing is starting to run out of gas. Got the high res angle. They always get this kind of S shape going from close range radar. It's probably a vorticity, potential vorticity streamer, streamwise vorticity coming in from the northwest into the mesocyclone. There's your hook, trying to wrap all the way around. Looks like we got a couple hooks, a little dual hook structure. It is directly over this lake, so it's possible that it's producing a water spout right now just to the south of the radar site. Let's take a look at the velocity. Still just some broad rotation at the tip of that hook. A little bit decoupled, but it's probably pulling in a lot of inflow into this notch. But boy, it looks like that hook is having trouble closing all the way around. And it's probably hit that near frictionless surface over the lake, and then that hook is starting to extend a little bit further out than it should. As I mentioned, I stopped in East Texas because of the Thursday severe weather threat, and you got to see this instability axis on Thursday. And Monday, Tuesday looks even more substantial. Storm Prediction Center issued a 8-day outlook, 8 days in advance of Tuesday. Now, Thursday is potentially a severe weather day. And let me show you this instability axis in the 18Z NAM, and then I'm going to show you the 0Z NAM as it's coming out. We were just breaking this down in depth. Oh, that's the 0Z. So it did come back a little bit between 18Z and 0Z. Look at the GFS instability axis. Well, the GFS, the 18Z GFS came in very bullish with the moisture transport. This is on Thursday, bringing that instability axis back into DFW. A lot of similarities in Thursday's setup as with yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised if the dew points come in a little bit lower. Late arrival of this moisture. This current system is definitely clearing out some of the moisture across the Gulf of Mexico. Well, low-level shear is definitely not going to be a problem. Very favorable photographs, a bit of a capping inversion here. But I am also watching Friday, across southeastern Alabama into central and southern Georgia. Could be interesting, especially southern Alabama. Probably not much nocturnal potential late Thursday night with this. Definitely dependent on the diurnal heating. But then look at that blob of Cape and shear heading up toward the next target on Friday. Show you this nasty low-level jet. And we do a detailed Q&A exclusively for Facebook subscribers. So I urge you to sign up. We're going to do another one tomorrow night as well. Boy, Friday evening, that's a very progressive system, very bust prone. So looking at the NAM, the GFS is a little bit more progressive with the low-level jet over southeastern Alabama. But that's a big, thick, low-level jet. This is the NAM forecast for 18Z on Friday, and it does eject pretty rapidly. This event is definitely bust prone because a lot of times the strongest low-level wind shear will push a little bit east of the main instability axis. So you've got the main instability over southern Alabama. And the question as to just how big this one's going to go depends on if that low-level shear is going to be co-located with that instability axis punching into southwestern Alabama. This is at 21Z. The greatest wind shear is definitely along the eastern gradient of that instability axis. There's the 0 to 1 kilometer shear. Notice how the 0 to 1 SRH is greater as that low-level jet's ejecting. So these do have high bust potential because sometimes the low-level jet can outrun the instability axis and leave it behind. Dog friendly. Definitely shows the NAM, even the regular NAM, showing a mode. And then the megatroph ejection happens on Monday through Tuesday. Let's go back to radar. We still have that active tornado warning. Don't want to lose sight of this one. So those are the northerly winds wrapping around in the hook in red. Big northwesterly winds wrapping around the backside of that mesocyclone. Just not seeing a ton of storm relative inflow to counterbalance all of that. Those strong northerlies on the backside. You really are required to have a much stronger inflow on the north side of that. But still, it is wrapping. It does look like the hook is advancing, but petering out too at the same time. It looks like that hook is starting to fluff out. Probably looks like the hook right over the radar site might be starting to dominate. Let's go a little bit further away back to the Melbourne radar site. And yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Orlando VA Medical Center, right along the forward flank gust front. We could see on the high resolution radar that hook was starting to wrap around a little bit more. That's what it'll require. You do have a lot of those northerlies streaming into this. There's your couplet, right over the northern edge of the lake, just south of the Orlando VA Medical Center, just south of the loop, 15. Very close to 15 though right now. Pretty broad rotation, but it is trying to couple, again, radar indicated rotation with a new tornado warning that extends off to the east as well. Looks like you're starting to get some storm relative inflow off to the east out here. Could be a sign that maybe the storm's trying to set the stage for yet another cycle even. Let's loop this supercell storm. That hook is definitely trying to wrap around. You have your forward flank gust front right here. Forward flank downdraft. All the rain and the hail falling in that zone. This is your hook coming around. You also have this RFD gust front that's bulging around. Rear inflow jet behind here. Big southwesterly is back behind. And if there is a tornado, it's wrapping all the way down right there at the tip of the RFD. Could get pulled back into the rain as well. It is approaching Highway 15 off to the east, Narcoozy. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. Runnymede. Weewahody. You're right on the eastern edge of the tornado warning. Probably a good idea to get in your safe place. Here's Highway 528 as well. So there is that tornado warned storm. Not a confirmed one right now. Radar indicated. Definitely could see some pretty strong rotation there. Northerlies. That's your streamwise vorticity streaming into that circulation. It looks like the RFD has bulged out, so you're starting to ramp up the inflow just ahead of that RFD bulge out in this location. Just realized I had that music going the whole time. Sorry about that. But there's that rotation. Pretty strong rotation. Broad, but it's there. Mesocyclone. Radar indicated east of Kissimmee. So Kissimmee, you're in the clear now. This tornado warned storm is off to your east. A little bit of an inflow notch, a weak echo region. It's not a bounded weak echo region right now, but that is about where the tornado would be. A few areas that I'm watching. This little notch near 522 and the Highway 15 intersection near the county line. And this is more concerning down there, a little bit to the south of 15, or right over 15 now. Waiting for this next scan to come in. Definitely some enhanced storm relative inflow off to the east. Tornado warned storm is southeast side of Orlando. There's downtown Orlando, MCO Airport, Walt Disney World Resort to the west. It's definitely, you're in the clear, Walt Disney. Looks to me like it's starting to die out. It's not. It's losing its deviant motion a little bit. The tornado warning is still continuing. Let's take a look at the high resolution radar, see if we can get an idea of hook structure. Not sure if that hook enclosed on itself. Ooh, it did try to wrap all the way around. See the hook reaching out, trying to wrap all the way around on itself. Looks like a little bit of a blob of enhanced reflectivity right at the end. It's not a debris ball. That's your circulation, probably. South of the VA Center still. As that hook's kind of wrapping around on itself. So no tornado on the ground right now, but there is a tornado warning. If you live in the red box, get in your safe place. You know how it goes. Of course, all eyes are on the very active severe weather season that we're in the midst of. Gizmo, my dog. Come back to the radar image. Still a textbook supercell storm. That's your forward flank gust front. This is your forward flank downdraft, all the rain and hail falling downstream. And there is a chode like hook that is ejecting. It does look like it's starting to cycle a bit. You can see your hook trying to wrap out. This is the RFD that's bulging. RFD surging. You don't have cyclonic curvature anymore to that hook-like appendage. And if anything, you have anticyclonic curvature to it. Definitely is cycling. It tried to produce quickly there, just south of the VA Medical Center, but it did not produce. Sometimes the tornadoes will happen a little bit closer to the forward flank gust front, right in that notch. Sometimes they'll be a little bit further down. It does look like your hook, you still do have that cyclonic curvature to the hook, and then your RFD goes back down. So if there is a tornado, it'd be just to the south of the VA Medical Center. It's not a tornado, or we'd see it really clearly on radar, but it does have some stronger rotation upstream. This thing is starting to wrap up on itself a bit. That could be a problem because it's starting to pull that storm relative inflow, couple it a little bit closer to the RFD. If it pulls this inflow back around, then this thing could produce a tornado. Looks like the RFD has a lot more outbound velocities. There's your hook-like appendage wrapping all the way around. This is the short-range radar. You have streamwise vorticity flowing in from north to south into this hook-like appendage. Usually you get northerly winds, very rapid northerly streaming into that tornado. Everything wants to flow in toward low pressure. This is just to the northwest of Narcoozy. That's where the tornado would be. You could definitely see an enhanced westerlies here with that RFD surge and some inflow that's trying as that hook echo is wrapping all the way around, but I'm not seeing very incredible velocities. Very broad right now. A lot of driving rain off to the south of it, off over the lake. I wonder if that did produce a water spout. It is starting, that circulation though is starting to approach Highway 15. It does seem like it's slowing down too, according to the VAD. Storm motion definitely slowing down quite rapidly. There's your hook echo. There's your forward flank gust front. Hook starting to wrap around again. Look at that cyclonic curvature around that hook. Approaching Highway 115. Look at that hook bulge out in that latest scan. That's a hook-like appendage right there, folks. Tornado warning supercell. You're looking at the high resolution radar. Forward flank gust front. Those kind of, a lot of times they get this weird S-shape appearance when you're looking at the real high-resolution radar, when these storms are so close to the radar. Let's take a look at echo tops and see how they're trending with time. Let's see if it is continuing to intensify. Maybe we can even see some of the site. Oh, and look at that echo top explode. Oh, it's blowing back up. So this storm is definitely cycling back up again. It's over the southeast side of Orlando. Definitely much higher in the way of echo tops. Look at it bubble down and back up. That's the cycling process of these storms. As they breathe out, breathe back in, recoil the spring, and then it'll try to produce another tornado off to the east, southeast of Orlando. But look at those echo tops just explode. Still radar indicated, not surprising. Look at some of the dual pole products. Eventually, you're probably going to be able to automate this tornado warning process. The whole entire weather report process, in fact, could probably be done with artificial intelligence. You know, they're starting to make these digital renditions of people now. Could just do a digital rendition of myself, have it sling weather reports to me out in the field. That's probably the next evolution. This is all lobe action, a radar artifact. When you're looking for debris, it would be like a cluster of a few pixels, but enclosed by higher correlation values. When they're kind of open-ended like this, that's a sign of a radar artifact. And it's well ahead of the hook as well. You always want to see if they're clustered tight with that couplet. And it looks like this latest scan looks a little bit more broad. Yeah, see how that inflow got shoved off to the east? That storm relative inflow max is now east of Highway 115 instead of coupling with that mesocyclone wrapping around the north side. RFD comes back around and completing the tornado genesis process. It pushed that inflow channel off to the east. I think that's a sign that this thing is starting to become more elevated, and you can see overall you kind of have this anticyclonic curvature to the hook-like appendage rather than that cyclonic curvature. All about that curvature. The Storm Prediction Center did downgrade to a marginal risk down across Florida. Everybody, please hit the subscribe and notification button. Smash it. Because when I go live, you're going to want to know with this period of severe weather coming up, potentially historic period of severe weather as well. Plan to come out of my couple-year slump in terms of tornado intercepts with this one. Here you can see the differential heating boundary across central Florida. Easterly surface winds associated with that differential heating boundary, and these supercells that have been evolving along that temperature gradient here have spawned a couple of tornado warnings. That's the central portion of the Florida Peninsula. Wind shear is overall marginal, so you definitely need those easterly winds that are associated with that differential heating boundary in Florida. Plenty of bulk shear for supercell storms. West-southwesterly winds at 40. Overtop, southeasterly surface winds at about 8 knots. That's close to 50 knots of bulk shear. So it's not surprising at all that there were tornadoes today. Very organized updrafts. Here's your cold upper low spinning. Remember those cloud bases that we observed today over the Marshall, Texas area? I was looking for some of those cold core funnels. 500 is your 500 analysis, and that's at minus 21 degrees C. That's a cold spin aloft, a cold bowling ball aloft, cold storm system. And we're going to see a lot more of these through the spring. Belt of strong westerlies along the southeastern side, and then you have those strong westerlies just grazing the target area of central Florida today. Anticyclonically curved hook is approaching Highway 115. A little bit of a notch there, a little weak echo region that's closing in on Highway 15 right now. Looks like that inflow is trying to get a little closer to that hook. So watch this area right along the western gradient. Oh, there it is. It's gone. That storm relative inflow has pushed all the way to the east now. Possibly up in that notch. There's the forward flank gust front. There's the RFD gust front. Watching this area here. I'm not seeing any evidence that it's gusted out just yet. A couple little showers in the open warm sector. So I'm really not seeing anything that's going to slow this storm down between here and Titusville, unless internal storm dynamics, maybe the loss of surface heating might help. That other former tornado warning storm is gone, long gone. Might be up here west of Deltona now. That one did prompt a special weather statement. Never could quite get going. This one turned right. We do have more severe thunderstorm warnings for that convective line, though, that is racing through the Tampa area. Windbag event just came through Tampa. Severe thunderstorm warning includes Lakeland, Mulberry area. Just a classic windbag here. Squall line pushing from west to east into the western edge of the Florida Peninsula. Still got the Renegade as well, southeast of Orlando, that we are tracking very closely. You can almost track a band, some type of a boundary that seems to be getting sucked into this storm too. And the storm's going to need all it can get to produce a tornado because of the environment is so marginal kinematically for that storm. Definitely have a squall line that's approaching West Florida here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this weather report. We got a multicast stream to Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube right now, dominating all facets best that we can. Breaking down the tornado threat in Florida. I don't think there are any severe weather watches right now. We just have this tornado warning southeast of Orlando. Seth, the programmer of TVN Live, now works for My Radar. He lives in Orlando. So if you're watching this, Seth, you better be on this storm in the inflow notch just east of it, looking at that structure, taking some beautiful pictures. Probably looks like a mothership moving into the increasingly stable air at the low levels. It used to have this cyclonically curved hook right at the tip of the hook, but it has definitely lost that as it's moving off to the east. Kind of have a competition between this main notch, we'll call that the parent inflow notch, and this little baby notch right at the tip of the hook. Sometimes the tornadoes will form right on the tip of the hook and then propagate up into that notch. Sometimes they'll propagate back behind and occlude back behind the gust front a little bit. Textbook supercell, though, definitely historically active pattern that we're in right now as well. Probably some pretty heavy rain in that forward flank. Here you have the forward flank gust front. You have the RFD gust front here. Those are the two main gust fronts of the supercell storm. The inflow goes up into the tornado cyclone, into the mesocyclone through the squeeze play between the forward flank gust front and the rear flank gust front, streaming back into that. And we've been using some of this high resolution radar too in the Orlando area. It definitely gives you an idea of the storm structure. You can see that dual inflow notch. You've got this weird looking inflow notch with winds probably ripping right along the forward flank gust front back into that notch. And then you have this interesting bulge, almost like an RFD bulge. It's like the new RFDs coming in further north and trying to reconsolidate the rotation where it should be. And you kind of have this baby hook down at the end that's starting to get more diffuse. If anything, that's sprawling out. Look at that, like a fern. But watching this area and this area right near Highway 15 with this storm kind of turning into a freak. Here's the forward flank gust front. Easterlies will come into these dual inflow notches. Still radar indicated hail, maybe up to 1 inch in diameter. I do wonder if there have been any big hail reports. I also saw near the Leonard, Texas area some trees down, so I do think that that was a confirmed tornado from that storm yesterday, just northeast of Leonard. Near Leonard High School, there were some trees down. Scanning higher up into the storm. Let's take a look at the echo tops, see how those are changing with time. Wow, echo top's getting way displaced off to the east, so it does look like it's starting to breathe out again. I see these supercell storms like living, breathing organisms, almost a perfect balance of inflow and outflow, breathing in and breathing out. So organized. Might as well just be living organisms. Oh, that latest scan not looking as favorable, which is good news. But we're still watching this little area at the end. A little bit of cyclonic curvature down there. I was talking earlier during our earlier briefing, and there are definitely some striking similarities between 2011 and this year. Even in that the early season event that launched up toward Iowa, it's almost similar to how on April 9, 2011, you had the Mapleton tornado in northwestern Iowa. You had those late night tornadoes, wedges, tornadoes of all shapes and sizes across northern Arkansas, northern Iowa. And then this year, about a week ago, you had the EF4 near Winterset. So there you can see that tornado near Mapleton, April 9, 2011. And the real show began after dark. Tornadoes of all shapes and sizes, wedges, elephant trunks, multiple vortex tornadoes. And then we chased the next day in Wisconsin on April 10, fast-moving tornadoes. One up near Siren, Wisconsin. The other one down near Toma. I'm going to take a leak. Be right back.
We can get right next to this. Yeah, oh yeah. And you gotta hear. It's getting bigger. Yep. It's about to come into the town. Yep. Siren sounding. That was a snow fight.
So we're still tracking this tornado warning. But it is definitely not as organized as it was. Boy, there was a tornado March 22nd in 2011 as well in western Iowa. I didn't know about that tornado. Let's take a look at some of the velocity imagery on this tornado warning southeast of Orlando. See evidence of the RFD gusting out. There's your circulation, definitely dominating over this weird little crack up here. Butt crack of the storm up here. But that might try to become the dominant rotation. Not very much rotation anymore. I do think that this tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire, even as it. But still, if you're in that red box, you got to heed the warning. Take cover. Get in your shelter. Get in your safe place. I do also want to give you a quick look at the larger pattern. I've got this year 2 La Nina in place. Been tracking it for a long time. We knew what it was going to do. And there are a lot of similarities in 2011 with the position of the North Pacific Oscillation. Got me. Stand by. So here's the pattern that we're looking at, the continental pattern. This is the upper level system that we're tracking now. Little ribbon of stronger flow over Florida led to a couple of tornado warnings. This event's what led to the severe weather yesterday. Overall, though, you just have this consolidated polar front jet stream, basically a void in the subtropical connection. La Nina, you usually get a subdued subtropical jet and a dominant polar front jet. This is Thursday's trough. Notice how there's another trough coming into the southern plains. That's going to be the Thursday into Friday system. Look how that shears out. Here's the anticyclone that's located over the Caribbean. High pressure and the southerly winds around the western edge of that anticyclone will help to maintain moisture into the Gulf of Mexico. Basically rocket fuel, open for business, but it does cause these systems to shear out over top that ridge and kind of dig down into the eastern, southeastern Great Plains, mid-south, and then eject. You're going to look at these systems upstream across the northeastern Pacific. This one is progged to dive south across the western U.S. All of that is driven by the sea surface temperature patterns. Look at that thing amplify over the west coast. That is a nasty storm system right there, everybody. Diving into the desert southwest, into the southern plains. Models diverge into the exact evolution of this, but a majority of these models do show a very substantial trough across the western U.S. Another one upstream. Dominant polar front jet stream with a Rossby wave train, one after another. A great website here for checking up on the latest sea surface temperatures in the tropical Pacific. I want to discuss really quick what has been driving this active severe weather season so far. You've got a La Nina in the tropical Pacific, negative anomalies. You have a cold PDO, negative anomalies that wrap around the eastern edge of the Pacific Basin. And even more importantly, you have the warm blob that it encapsulates. That's the North Pacific Oscillation north of Hawaii. That wants to force a ridge across the central Pacific. And the jet will like to be meridional with northerly flow here over the western edge of the North American continent. And that's what favors the development of a western U.S. trough that dominates western North America. You've got an above average Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic. That's definitely not going to hurt with the moisture supply in the Gulf of Mexico, but it certainly does help maintain that anticyclone off the southeastern U.S. Southerly flow on its western periphery helps to maintain the moisture in the Gulf. Very similar pattern to 2011. 2011 even had more cold water in the subtropical branch of the PDO horseshoe. Pacific Decadal Oscillation horseshoe, that cold water around the northeastern edge of the basin. Warm blob in the middle of the North Pacific Oscillation. La Nina conditions in the tropical Pacific. You got to wonder if this little warming out here, maybe a weakening of the trade winds leading to some warming in the far eastern tropical Pacific, could be the very beginning of an El Nino starting to develop that probably by late summer 2022 into fall might shift this La Nina into a neutral pattern. But some of the long-range models show a triple dip with El Nino re-intensifying, La Nina, re-intensifying once again. Still have the tornado warning out here. Still radar indicated. It expires in 4 minutes. I think they're going to allow it to expire, but it's a pretty weak rotation on the east side of Orlando, but we're just going to have to see in about 4 minutes if this gets extended or not. Put on a little music here as we're waiting for that scan. I haven't seen any pictures of tornadoes yet from this event. I did from a couple of days ago. That person that pulled up into the drive-thru saw that tornado impact them at the drive-thru. Everybody rushes to get the video so they can make the ad revenue from it. South of Highway 528, you're probably getting in that hail core on 528 to the east of Orlando now. West of Weehawhoty, but still probably getting your safe place. Anyway, that's the inflow notch. Bulging RFD as well off to the south. There's a textbook RFD bulging. Tornado warning still in effect. Wind shear, though, increasingly marginal off to the east of it. Starting to see some showers develop to the southeast of this storm. You got to wonder how that's going to impact the thermodynamics available to that tornado warning storm as well. Two minutes and we find out what's going to happen with this storm. I think they're probably going to let it expire. Let's take a look at echo tops. The echo tops are big. Oh, they extended it. You gotta be kidding me. They kept it going. Quite surprising. The echo tops are definitely starting to subside a little bit with this storm, but they could still squeeze out tornadoes. We do have the new tornado warning statement, and for at least the next 32 minutes. 11:11. Thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado over Lake Hart, moving northeast at 15, moving very slow. Echo tops are coming down on this storm, so it does seem to be undergoing a weakening trend. And look at the hook, it's not digging in as much anymore. You just have this bulging out RFD structure. You don't really have the cyclonically curved hook punching into that, just kind of an anticyclonically bulging RFD structure. A little bit of your forward flank gust front as well. If anything, it looks like your RFD is actually bulging out here, unless it's sent out a gravity wave out ahead of the actual RFD. So they definitely did extend that tornado warning. Another 30 minutes. Probably could have gone either way, I think. Ooh, it is showing me as live. Either way, I think. It's working. Fries at McDonald's. Chat need to... Yeah, please, everybody. Hit that like button. What are we at? 700 likes? Let's see if we can bump that up a little bit, but... We're tracking this, and it's because there's not a tornado that's happening right now. Tampa, you do have that severe thunderstorm, but it's east of Tampa ways. So let's go back really quick to that line of severe thunderstorms off to the west. I know we're focused on the Renegade, of course, but you do have this sharp line of severe storms that are actually bulging out near the Lakeland area. A little bit of a bow echo bulge coming into Lakeland. Right along Interstate 4. That's Interstate 4. There's the Lakeland area. 60, 70 mile an hour winds with that. Not very much in the way of hail, just a pure windbag event moving through the western Florida peninsula. Still have the Renegade southeast of Orlando. Oh, wow, look at that. Squall line launching. Couple echoes that are trying to get going down southwest of Fort Pierce. That one's trying to turn east a little bit, maybe move toward Port St. Lucie, but I don't think that it's going to get going. It's more just forming in the outflow of this little blob of convection. This, though, is going to impact Orlando. You're going to have another round of severe storms that's moving from west to east. Pretty large MCS. Big squall line that's about to impact the Lakeland area. And look at your Renegade storm just southeast of Orlando. It's weakening. You can see it's lost its ability to latch. I am kind of surprised that they extended the tornado warning for this storm, but still, it's always best to be safe. But definitely is weakening on approach to Highway 528. I mean, that's just a really wimpy hook. The echo tops are collapsing. Really weak rotation as well. Just weak broad rotation. There's no chance that there's a tornado in that storm right now. Echo tops are trying to bubble up just a little bit, but really nothing that substantial. 34,000 foot tops. So as the storm is approaching Highway 528, the hook is not quite as organized as it was previously, but still has that tornado warning probably for another half hour or so. Let's see if I can even switch this thumbnail real time. There it is, yes. So still relatively broad rotation on the storm southeast of Orlando. Big squall line, though, that's coming in from the west. It does have severe thunderstorm warnings. Keep an eye on that one very closely. What? So this storm is definitely losing its rotation a little bit on approach to Highway 528 just to the east of Orlando. We also have the severe line of severe thunderstorms that's bulging in. It just came in off the Gulf of Mexico. That's definitely bulging into the Lakeland area. So I think that definitely 60 mile an hour winds, certainly possible in Lakeland. We still have that active tornado warning, even though there's not a ton of rotation with that storm. Looks like gusting up to about 26 meters, 28 meters a second, 55, 60 miles an hour near the Winston area, just above the ground to the west of Lakeland. 50 to 60 mile an hour winds coming into Lakeland. I can really do these radar breakdowns with an artificial intelligence version of myself, just using dual pol radar and kind of going over all the radars. Not a huge amount of art that's involved in this breaking down radar. You just kind of look for those indicators of a storm that potentially might be going tornadic. This one's fading out. The RFD gust front has bulged all the way out here. You can see it in the reflectivity, choking it off from the warm, humid air that's available to this storm out in front of it. That's the forward flank gust front. Just a tiny little hook on the backside. And we can definitely watch the echo top subside with this. It looks like these showers are starting to move up, definitely starting to impede probably moving into a little stable layer right along the Atlantic. Peaked down to the east of Kissimmee, just to the south of the VA Medical Center. Well, it looks like it's gusting out. That's the rear flank downdraft gusting out a little bit. Rotation still very broad. So that warning is definitely going to be allowed to expire unless it pulls a miracle and reinvigorates somehow. See the echo tops subside a bit. Textbook. Thank you everybody for tuning in to this weather report. Awesome to see everybody on Twitch as well. It does look like the echo tops are collapsing on this storm. Definitely not as organized as it was a little bit ago. Watching the storm slowly lose its ability to root. You really needed this thing to turn right and just plow into these showers to have a chance to stay out ahead of that outflow. Now it's getting impeded by its own outflow. And now eyes are on this advancing line. Let's see how well the HRRR resolves this line. God, it's not easy being us, is it? So this HRRR did a pretty good job. Dang, it looks... This is the latest HRRR, definitely resolving these renegades. Initialization looks good. Here's your line of storms approaching the Tampa area. Let's go out 2 hours of time. Has those, it even had that renegade that tried to intensify near Jupiter. And you got a few of those renegades, and then an MCS pushing through the western Florida peninsula. Looks like it weakens it with time. Definitely weakens that MCS, but radar trends definitely support it continuing all the way through Orlando. And then it'll probably start weakening on approach to Orlando. Might even be more of a sub-severe squall line as it heads up that way. But keep an eye on this storm in Titusville, even though it's running into, it has all these negatives going for it. These cluster of showers, even thunder showers starting to form off to its east. This one's starting to slide west of its outflow. It does have a cyclonically curved hook now, but I think it's more of an elevated supercell. Even though you do have this cyclonically curved hook, I do believe that this thing is elevated. Here's the gust front way out in front. Unless it's curving in, it might be still getting some inflow right along Highway 528. But the most dangerous portion of the storm is now right along Highway 528, Beach Line Expressway. It's like a neighborhood here. Dallas Boulevard. And that hook is definitely coming around. That is wrapping around, cyclonically curved. Weak rotation right over Highway 528. That's the rotation. I haven't really seen any incredible rotation with this storm throughout its life cycle. It's almost a bit of a courtesy warning, I think. Maybe a little bit earlier, MCO, the high resolution radar, was showing that hook coming around. But I just haven't seen any incredible rotation with this storm. That really screams definitely tornado in progress, but it does have rotation, could produce a tornado. We still have that tornado warning that's in place. Echo tops get way displaced off to the east, so the echo tops are definitely collapsing with this storm. Good news. Popping into the chat here to say hello to everybody. Yeah, no tornado right now. The storm is weakening. Bird fart. Probably not even a bird fart. Yep. Good call. Good to see you guys. Good night. The tornado is not in progress right now. It does have a tornado warning, but it is not in progress right now. There is a tornado warning, but the rotation is very broad. It is over Highway 528. We're looking at the echo tops right now of this thing. This gust front, that's the RFD gust front bulging way out, and it does look like it's pulling an inflow right along Highway 528 right now. Still radar indicated. Tornado warning expires in 28 minutes. That's the hook-like appendage. This is a forward flank gust front, forward flank downdraft as well. There's the rotation just north of Highway 528. This is the National Weather Service radar. I think this is the Radar Omega app. I use all different radars: Radar Scope, Radar Omega, Raw National Weather Service radar, My Radar, Accuweather radar. It's all the same data from the National Weather Service site. Radar Omega does have some pretty cool products. Also has the weather stations that are on the ground, which are fun to look at so you can sample what the inflow conditions are like. When I'm storm chasing, I use more Radar Scope just because I'm more familiar with it. I can operate it in my sleep. But for this one, for the desk, for the laptop, when I'm doing these weather briefings. It is possible. This is Dallas Boulevard and 528 Beachline Expressway. This is the hook echo right here. That's the cyclonically curved hook that's rotating around. I'm actually near the Texas-Louisiana border right now, setting my sights on Thursday, the storm chase across East Texas. And that's the rotation just north of Highway 528. My radar is good, but for the more professional meteorologists, I like the higher resolution stuff. I like the raw data. I don't like anything with smoothing. You know, I don't need anyone to hold my hand when I'm looking at radar data. I just like the raw data, raw pixels, pixel by pixel type data. I'm a professional. But, you know, my radar is still good for some professionals as well, I'm sure. Yeah, I bet if you're on Highway 528, you're probably getting some pretty insane conditions, depending on exactly where on 528 you're located. But this one's probably more squally. It is a supercell storm. Definitely has a cyclonically curved hook echo, which even though the echo tops were collapsing a little bit, it seems to be undergoing a third bubble up. Echo top's probably 30,000 feet, highly tilted. Mesocyclone down here tilting up to the echo tops that surge up through the troposphere. I do like GR2 analyst. I also like GR level 3. I used to use that a lot in the Storm Chasers days and the Dominators when I had a laptop in the car. Over the last 5 to 8 years though or so, my technology has kind of taken a crap. I just kind of use potato phones now. Even my clothes, I only have like one shirt that I wear every day, usually the Gizmo shirt here. I shower like every couple weeks, even. I smell bad. I just don't really care anymore. Yeah, Eustis is in the clear. I think everybody's in the clear because this storm's really weakening. It looks elevated. It's not even turning right anymore. It's lifting off to the north, about to lift north of Highway 528. So this thing's probably dying. It's got showers that are starting to develop off to the east of it. That's probably a sign of a changing environment off to the east of it as well. But you still do have this line that's now sub-severe. It looks like you had a little bit of a bow poking into Polk City. Probably get 40, 50 mile an hour winds with that one. Oviedo, Florida. I would say that everybody is okay right now. Even if your grandpa lives right in the inflow notch of this supercell storm, I still would feel confident saying they're going to be okay. But there is a tornado warning here. I do have a musk. Definitely have an odor, a body odor. I don't wear deodorant or anything or antiperspirant either. I hardly even shower. I'm just a storm chasing machine. In general, it's headed toward Titusville, but it's weakening. And you also have these storms that are coming in from the south that are likely going to impede with it. If you're in a Disney resort, you're fine. It's you're on the west side of Orlando, probably near where Tiger Woods is out in Windermere. This is on the east side of Orlando. Already crossed Highway 528. It's north of Highway 528 now, south of Highway 50. Yeah, dominating is all that matters. I agree. The Southern Plains and Tornado Alley have been relatively quiet recent years since 2019. 2019 was crazy. But I think that Tornado Alley is going to come alive in a big way in 2022 for all the reasons that we've discussed in our weather briefings throughout the winter, late fall into the winter. And we also have all of these days ahead. Let me show you. Day 1 today, slight risk, verified, even though they did downgrade to a marginal. Day 2, marginal, southeast US. Maybe even a severe weather threat where my mom and Gizmo are located in South Carolina. Day 3, it's actually been upgraded to a slight risk across northeast Texas, central Texas as well, down into western Louisiana. That's been upgraded. That's a pretty potent trough ejection, even though moisture limitations are going to be in place. Then day 4 is that event, southeastern Alabama. There's already a risk on the day 4. That's Friday. Day 7, I mean, even the super outbreak of 2011 had a day 5 risk. Didn't have anything more in advance at a day 5 risk. And we've already got a day 8 out for March 22nd. Wow. Here's Accuweather's tornado forecast. Tornado Outlook 2022 average about 1,253 tornadoes. Expecting an above average March and April, and then a below average May as you start to get the this is Accuweather's official forecast. The warm Gulf of Mexico, the cold PDO, pretty active storm track during March into April. No, I'm just a storm chasing machine. That's all that I do. That's all that I want to do. I don't have time for dating or any of that crap. Just a pure storm chasing machine, and I've decided to dedicate the rest of my life to it. So it looks like it might be trying to ramp up again a little bit just to the north of Highway 528, just to the south of Hell Scott Regional Preserve Park, Dallas Boulevard. There's your cyclonically curved hook, but let's take a look at rotation, and I doubt that there's very much rotation with it. None. Turbulence. Expires in 11 minutes. That's going to be allowed to expire. I can almost guarantee it. The Dominator 1 and 2 are in Norman, Oklahoma, and I've got to fix those up. They're sitting outside at Tornado Safe certified shelters, but I want to fix those up. I want to get a warehouse in Norman, somewhere west of Norman, Oklahoma. Get Dominator 1 and 2 in the same vehicle. Get Dominator 4 in there. Have a storm chasing home base, and then I'll be dominating. I do love Gorilla Hail, certainly. I know that it isn't favorable, of course, for agriculture and your vehicles and everything, but I enjoy hail, even pulverizing my vehicle. Hail dents, I blow my windows out about 4 to 5 times a year. No sign of a PDS, everybody. No, that's actually true. No romance of any kind in like 6 years since my divorce. Just pure storm chasing, golf, mountain biking, nature, crystal collecting, Gizmo. Gizmo is the love of my life, definitely. New warning, Alabama. My ass. There is actually a severe thunderstorm warning in Alabama. It looks like some kind of a hailer southwest of Coffeyville. Not any tornado potential here. 1.25 inch hail, pure hail producer. Not very much in terms of wind either. Kind of surprised that I hadn't even got a warning. What the hell? Yeah, there is that hailer up in southwestern Alabama. Look at some of the dual pole products to try to see exactly where that hail core is located. And you can see it right there. Not much hail with that, even though it is severe thunderstorm warned. Can't believe that thing still has a tornado warning. It's gotta expire any minute. Wow. Still trying to get a little bit of cyclonic curvature on that hook right north of Highway 528 and Dallas Boulevard. Right over Hal Scott Regional Preserve. Doubt that it's rotating much, but just a little bit of broad rotation approaching Dallas Boulevard. Broad rotation. I don't see this thing dropping an F5 or anything, even on approach to Highway 520. I would need to see that picture of the tornado. It is probably a scud tag, I bet. Yeah, like 3 or 4 times it's been extended. Looking at echo tops. Let's see if we can see it bubbling back up again. Yeah, the echo tops are collapsing on it. So this is definitely going to allow that tornado warning to expire. But you do have that hook-like appendage. Very sharp gradient, too, on the forward flank gust front. That's a sharp gradient. That's indicative of a very healthy supercell storm. Strong inflow as well. I'm chasing solo on Thursday. Tomorrow looks like kind of a breather day. I'm going to edit a flex tape video of me fixing my side mirror. I blew it apart in that big hailstorm, the Gorilla Hail out in the Pecos Valley. And then Hurricane Laura finished it off for good. So Category 4 Hurricane Laura came in. And then I drove 2 years with no side mirror, manually checking my blind spots. And then now I just fixed it with flex tape. Yeah, I do want to make a members only group at Briar Rose. I definitely would love to do that similar to subscribers on Facebook, but there's just so much work to do. You know, it's hard to keep up with everything. So, but I do plan on doing a members only on YouTube, and also probably I'll do that on Twitter too. I thought about shooting my as lives and then doing just that. Well, definitely gas is definitely going up $4 or $5 a gallon now. So similar to 2008 to 2010 when gas prices were high, but we were doing for different reasons, obviously. Very sinister reasons now with the war happening out there and other reasons as well. But back 2008 and 10 when we were doing Storm Chasers, they had the recession and gas prices rocketed. But thankfully, Discovery Channel was covering the our gas bill back then. So that was kind of lucky that we were working with Storm Chasers back in the day. I might do something for kind of more in-depth model interpretation. I want to see if this warning gets extended. I want to wait for a couple more radar scans still, just because of this cyclonic curvature to the hook-like appendage. It's definitely wrapping all the way around. I do love Utah. Utah's a great place. Thank you, Wayne the Cian. Much appreciated for those super chats. Thank you, everybody. Corsica would be awesome. Be an awesome place out there. Always wanted to visit. It didn't touch down, this tornado, and I do think that that tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. So thank you, Shannon. Good heavens. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's not confirmed. Not even close to confirmed. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, everybody. Let's take a look at the velocity and see how the rotation is doing. Still, it's pretty broad, but it is there. There still is a mesocyclone just to the southeast of Hal Scott Regional Park. We do need a new one. Never stop chasing, Mark. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. I haven't found any rubies, but I do love looking for crystals of all kinds, quartz. Yep, my mom does live in Traveler's Rest. Paris Mountain's awesome. I like to ride my bike out there. Do a lot of mountain biking out in Paris Mountain. No problem, Honey Bear. I've been looking at radar my whole life nonstop, so I do enjoy looking at radar. You are appreciated, Crazy Temp. Never stop chasing. Thank you, Carliana. Carliana, much appreciated. Love your new content on your channel. I heard you were doing a new one on the Joplin, Missouri tornado, 2011, late May, and the secondary peak of 2011. We were just discussing the record-breaking month of April with over 700 tornadoes, April 2011, and that continued into May, really active. You had May 21st, a tornado that we missed. I was actually on the golf course and saw that storm erupt. Big mistake. We took a day off for storm chasers on the 21st, and then the 22nd happened, ended up targeting southern Oklahoma. News helicopters flying over. We had like 20 vehicles. Everybody needs to get a snack pack at every gas station stop. They had a medic vehicle. They had 3 tour vans, extreme tornado tours, all 3 dominators out in the field. Just an absolute circus. Lucky I survived that, honestly. Like a circus going down the road. Thank you, Ian. Never stop chasing. Much appreciated. Yeah, she does incredible videos, recaps of case studies of significant weather events, damage as well, and also the tornadoes out in southeastern Asia, or the tornadoes out in Asia too, was very interesting. I do want a storm chase out in China at some point. It seems like when it's active out there, it's inactive here in North America, like we've had the last couple of years. Thank you, LSX. I could definitely do some in-depth analyses. I don't have a ton of grit anymore, but I do love looking at radar, discussing storms. Most of my grit is definitely used in driving nonstop. I'm here near the Louisiana, Texas border. I ended up stopping just because of the uptick in moisture on Thursday and because of the threat of guerrilla hail that could come in. Yeah, I want to storm chase internationally, start expanding. We storm chased in Argentina back in 2009 and to 2010 in the Pampas, down in Cordoba and Santa Rosa and all the way west to the Andes. It's probably one of my favorite places to chase is down in Argentina. Big dew points that you get east of the Andes. You get like mid-upper 70s dew points out there. Huge hail as well. Massive hail across the Argentinian Pampas. And I thought I was going to just go there every year since then, but I haven't been since. Thank you again, Shannon. You've You've already donated though, but thank you so much. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. Storm Chasers got canceled in 2011, and it was season 4. And there was a new owner that came into Discovery Channel, or a new head producer, and they said, I never understood the point of Storm Chasers, and canceled it. And it was already canceled before the 2011 season. We did the 2011 season with a new producer, and we already knew that it was going to be canceled again. And then 2011 happened to be that record-breaking tornado event, super outbreak. You had the April 15th event with over 150 tornadoes. Saw 75 tornadoes that year in 2011. And then we did Tornado Chasers on our own. We funded it with Kickstarter. That was when we did the TVN live streaming platform as well. I ended up losing all my savings with that, because we had like $30,000 a month hosting fees to host. I had like 500 million viewer minutes a month. And social media foots the bill for the live streams, and ad revenue comes in. But when you set up your own website, you have to foot the bill for the hosting, and it ended up just getting run into the ground. But we were starting to work live streaming with phones, and we had a network of like 150 Storm Chasers apps. Seth Deckard, our programmer, works for My Radar now. Just did an incredible job. Ken Cole did Tornado Chasers. Sean Schofer was an investor too. And they almost brought back Storm Chasers in 2018. It was all ready to come back. The same characters, Sean Casey, Josh Werman, everybody was coming back. And Joel passed, sadly, that January. And they ended up not bringing back the series. And the same producer came into Discovery Channel after the new one. I think Rich Ross, who was going to bring it back. They were going to bring back a bunch of other Discovery shows too. Cash Cab, I think, came back, and then the same head producer came in and shut it down again. I see the severe thunderstorm warning, but no tornado warning. Oh, wait, there is one. Embedded in that, what? In the north side of that line? You got to be kidding me. That's a bookend vortex, everybody. North edge of that bow echo. That is a bookend vortex north of the villages. So usually when you get a bow echo like this, you'll get two counter-rotating vortices, one on the north side that's cyclonic, one on the south side that's spinning the opposite direction. And those are called bookend vortices. One on the north, cyclonic, one in the south, anticyclonic, and they warned the cyclonic one. Someone is fired up. No, that's not. It's a radar artifact. Yeah, we'd be on like season 4 of the second one. Almost came back, and then we did Storm Rising with Nat Geo in 2020, and then it didn't get promoted because they ended up getting bought out by Disney, and I don't think that they wanted anything to do with the Storm Chasers show. But I do think that there's room for Storm Chasers to come back. I just think you're going to need new teams, new younger teams that will come in. Maybe I'll be the old team now that can get dominated out there. And I think that it could definitely be a good series. Everybody doing science, working together, a little bit of competing too. But it's also a lot of work, and I was lucky to have survived that period of reality television. It was a crazy time, traveling all over the country, pretty much doing speaking events nonstop, did like 300 or 400 speaking events. But yeah, the bookend vortex here. And I think, just lucky to have survived that period, so I'm not even sure if I'd be able to survive another run of Storm Chasers. But this is where that rotation would be, the northern edge, bookend vortex, north of the villages. Tornado warning radar indicated. Special weather statement down to the south. Yeah, not too many. This one is severe warn now. The gust front has definitely migrated way out in front of the mesocyclone. But watching the bookend vortex near Highway 42 north of the villages. Weirsdale, getting your safe place. Everybody's might be asleep out in this area. People stay up pretty late in Florida though. No, I don't think that it's on the ground. I'm using all the tools available to my disposal here with dual pull. This is a bookend vortex. So here is the bow echo, little bow echo, and this is the cyclonic bookend vortex on the north side. You get an anticyclonic bulge usually on the south side, maybe way. You have a couple of bow echoes embedded within here. Let's see what this warning statement says. Yeah, it's definitely a bookend vortex on the north side there. That thing is done as we knew. Probably, you know, that even that other additional extension to the warning is probably a little much. Just north of the villages. There's Highway 42. Looks like there's a little bit of inflow wrapping around the north side here. Some of those easterlies are, the surface wind easterlies are definitely working this. Just a pipe, probably a low-level jet, easterly low-level jet coming in here. You definitely do have cyclonic shear. You have the easterlies on the north side, westerlies on the south side. It kind of creates this shear zone. Anywhere north of the apex of the bow is in an area that favors the generation of cyclonic vorticity. Southeasterlies, easterlies to the north side, westerlies on the south side. It just creates cyclonic spin. Highway 42, northeast of the villages now. Nothing tight, but Weirsdale to Starks Ferry is that area along Highway 452. Yeah, maybe I just like teaching meteorology too, but I can just do it on my social media platforms too. Do like, there's the apex of the bow. Apex is pointed right at Altoona, Florida. But anywhere north of the apex of the bow echo favors the generation of cyclonic vorticity. And even when I'm chasing like one of those QLCS patterns that in general have kind of a mesoscale bow, I still want to target the cyclonic vorticity generation side of that bow because those supercell storms just kind of have that general cyclonic spin to the atmosphere north of the bulge, similar with a bulging dry line as well. But that's the apex of the bow, and anywhere along this shear zone you get the generation of cyclonic vorticity, and really you do it throughout, but especially north of the apex of the bow echo. Ace Ventura? Yeah, I remember that film. The Villages is probably like a golf community or something up there. Thank you, Maddie B. Never stop chasing. Canadian. Hopefully we're going to be allowed to storm chase up in Canada this year. Yeah, I'm definitely a pure storm chasing live streamer. My technology is definitely lacking a little bit. I just generally put a potato phone up on the windshield and stream. But it's going to be definitely crazy over the next week or two. Mark Simpson's trying to work on a streaming all-in-one, like a mini computer that will like change camera angles, that'll display the Dominator weather station data on the live stream and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll see if that's happening. It's definitely the Wild West out here, though, with social media. It's hard to keep up. Everything's evolving so quickly. But here you can see that inflow pipe. The easterlies coming in on the cyclonic vorticity generation side of that bow echo. I'm 41. I feel like I'm probably about, I feel pretty good though. I feel in good shape. I think storm chasing keeps you young. I actually turned 42 on Thursday, and it's going to be another storm chasing day on my birthday. I've been storm chasing full time professionally now for 23 years. And I've hit zero a lot during that 23 years, that's for sure. Hit zero many times, as recently as like 2017. I went to Las Vegas and lost my savings in one night. So definitely the cyclonic vorticity generation side of this bow echo. That's what we're watching right here. The thing is wrapped all the way around on itself. Highway 42. Look at that. You even have like a weak echo region right in the middle of it. Connor is in Dallas. He chased with Mike Scantlin yesterday. Would love to chase with Connor some more, but those guys like to do their own thing too, you know. I think that they feel like if they chase with me sometimes that, you know, there comes a time where they need to, where they want to split off and do their own thing, and that's what's happened. So that's kind of why I chase solo a lot. Alex, Captain Vanover, is coming back out. He's going to be chasing on maybe Friday, but definitely Monday and Tuesday. So you do have broad rotation. This thing has a mesocyclone within this comma head now. The bookend vortex, the northern side. Look at that. Look at the westerlies start to really enhance in the villages, north of the villages. I'm not telling. Connor McCrory. I've chased Michigan a lot, and I've never seen a tornado in Michigan. That's my home state, and I've never seen a tornado there. But there's the bookend vortex wrapping all the way around itself. Look at that textbook bookend vortex. You can zoom out, really see that. The southern one isn't as well organized. It's definitely enhanced by the easterlies that are at the surface, low-level easterlies between the lowest 1.5 kilometers. I love chasing Wyoming. Wyoming's probably one of my favorite places to chase. That's the whole reason I probably have an apartment in Colorado. Love chasing eastern Wyoming into western South Dakota, Nebraska Panhandle as well. Working the Black Hills. I may have to go up into South Dakota and get some rose quartz too this year. I'm getting into the crystal digging. I definitely have a lot of ideas for custom instrumentation. Chase and Spin is the instrumentation expert engineer of Team Dominator. Yeah, you can definitely feel the power out of the quartz, the crystals, all crystals. I don't know if it's just because they make you happy when you get the crystal and pull it out of the ground, and then that makes you feel the power of the crystal, or if there is some kind of energy within the crystal lattice. I almost grew it back. If I didn't have my varsity tutors class, I would have grown back my mustache. It makes me feel a lot more gritty. Yeah, I was big into insect collecting when I was younger, and then I caught an Eastern Hercules beetle at the age of 15, 16. Gradually retired from insect collecting, but I was a hardcore insect collector. I have cases upon cases of beetles, moths as well. I specialize in large moths, silk moths, hawk moths, scarab beetles, though, large beetles. I thought about keeping it for the class, but I decided to shave it, I guess. You can definitely see this elongated convergence zone with this severe thunderstorm. It has a severe thunderstorm warning. Still got the tornadoes possible tag with that one, but see all this wave-like structure along that convergence zone. You can tell that it's a little bit elevated. A lot of turbulence, gravity waves up and down that convergent zone. Yeah, the Eastern Hercules beetle was huge, 2.5 inches long. Jeff Petrowski is a big one from the storm chasing side of things, kind of the pioneer of the up close extreme storm chasing. Really nice guy too, great friend of mine now, but he's a big inspiration of mine. Tim Samaras, of course, the late Tim Samaras. Tim Marshall sent me videos when I was younger on VHS tape. Major inspiration. All right, everybody, time to let you go. I'm gonna get some sleep here. Lots of storm chasing ahead, and I think that this bookend vortex is probably about to cycle. So I want to wait for 1 or 2 more scans just to see if it'll tighten up. All right, everybody, stay safe. Lots of storm chasing ahead. Have a good night, everybody. My bedtime is here. It's like 9 o'clock.